We got to talk about one other thing, because the Republican Party likes to cloak itself in the language of religion. Now, our party doesn't talk about that as much, largely for a very good reason, which was we are committed to the separation of church and state, and we stand for people of any religion and people of no religion.
Mayor Pete believes Democrats don't boast their Christian beliefs out of tolerance for other faiths and those without faith. But is that true? Let's analyze the Democrat Party and see if their actions are out of tolerance or intolerance. Let's start with the Democrat presidential runner-up, Bernie Sanders. When Russell Vought was going through his confirmation hearing, Senator Sanders sparred with Vought over an online article defending Wheaton College's consistent Christian theology of believing Jesus Christ is the only way to salvation.
Senator, I'm a Christian.
I understand you are a Christian, but this country is made up of people who are not just. I understand that Christianity is the majority religion, but there are other people who have different religions in this country and around the world.
As a Christian, I believe that all individuals are made in the image of God and are worthy of dignity and respect, regardless of their religious beliefs.
They do not know God because they've rejected Jesus Christ the Son and they stand condemned. Do you think that's respectful of other religions?
Senator, I wrote a post based on being a Christian and attending a Christian school that has a statement of faith that speaks clearly with regard to the centrality of Jesus Christ in salvation.
Eventually, Senator Sanders had this to say.
This nominee is really not someone who is what this country is supposed to be about. I will vote no.
According to Senator Sanders, if you believe the basic tenet of Christianity, he does not believe you should be serving in government. Do you believe Senator Sanders grilled his campaign representatives Rashida Tlaib or Ilhan Omar for not believing Jesus Christ is the Son of God? Of course not. Americans have different beliefs, yet he had little to no respect for Director Vought. And it wasn't simply Senator Sanders who felt so strongly about Russell Vought. YouTube media darlings the Young Turks, who received a mid-six-figure investment from Google, labeled the exchange, "Bernie Sanders destroys religious bigot during confirmation hearing." The Young Turks has 4.8 million YouTube subscribers. Let's move on. During a CNN town hall discussion on LGBT issues, an Elizabeth Warren donor proposed this question.
And a supporter approaches you and says, "Senator, I am old-fashioned, and my faith teaches me that marriage is between one man and one woman." What is your response?
Well, I'm going to assume it's a guy who said that. And I'm going to say, then just marry one woman, assuming you can find one.
Do you believe Senator Warren decided to mock millions of Americans out of tolerance for the LGBT community or out of intolerance for Americans with traditional values? Senator Cory Booker also has notable exchanges with Christian candidates over homosexuality.
Are gay relationships, in your opinion, immoral?
Senator, I'm not sure, the relevance of that to,
I think relevant in your opinion. If you think African-American relationships are immoral, do you think gay relationships are immoral? Do you personally believe that gay relationships?
No, I do not.
You do not believe that?
No.
Do you believe they're a sin?
Senator, my personal views on any of these subjects are things I would put to one side, and I would faithfully follow.
So you're not willing to say here that whether you believe it is sinful for two men to be married. You're not willing to comment on that?
Senator, no.
Have you ever had an LGBTQ law clerk?
I've not been a judge, so I don't have any law clerks.
Someone working for you.
I'm to be honest, I don't know the sexual orientation of my staff.
Have you conducted a gay marriage?
Have I conducted one?
Presided over one, officiated a gay marriage?
I have not.
Okay, but you don't want to tell me your opinion on that issue?
I apply the law of the Supreme Court.
So you're going back. I want to move on as quickly as I can. You believe that gay sex is a perversion? Yes or no?
Senator, if I can,
yes or no, sir. Do you believe that gay sex is a perversion? Because that's what you said here in one of your speeches. Yes or no? Do you believe gay sex is a perversion?
Senator, I'm going to give you the same answer I just gave you previously. My respect for every individual, regardless of their sexual orientation, is the same.
Booker never alleged Pompeo mistreated anyone for their sexual orientation while working for the CIA. but he became obsessed with his biblical views on gay sex. Do you think Booker grilled Pompeo out of tolerance or intolerance? Knowing Senator Booker, this was more likely a hard pander moment, but perhaps Booker should consider grilling pastors about this the next time he goes to black churches to lobby for their support. Let's go back to 2012 and the infamous DNC convention. The Democrat leadership who drafted the platform, generally meticulous activists who thoughtfully craft every word, decided to omit God. Once that was widely discovered by the public, it had to be rectified. When it was time to amend the party's platform to include the God language and state Jerusalem was the capital of Israel, the nays were clearly a force, so much that the vote was taken 3 times and the nays were overruled. This prompted heavy boos and led to the repeated phrase, "Democrats booed God."
Motion is adopted. And the platform has been amended as shown on the screen. Thank you very much.
This was a turning point for many pastors who were closet Republicans. Why? Because boos don't sound very tolerant. If you want to put Mayor Pete's tolerance to the test, look no further than his one-sided feud with the vice president, who is on record being kind to Mayor Pete time and time again. Mayor Pete has it out for the Mike Pences of the world who adhere to biblical views on marriage. Mayor Pete twists scriptures so he can scold conservatives for not raising the minimum wage, yet Mayor Pete refuses to dictate any morality when it comes to the sanctity of life, even in the case of third-term abortion when a child is viable. Democrats like former President Obama famously said,
whether you're looking at it from a theological perspective or a scientific perspective, answering that question with specificity, is above my pay grade.
Yet he had enough of an opinion to oppose the Born Alive Infants Protection Act while serving as a senator in Illinois, and to use an executive order to rescind the Mexico City policy as president. When the House tried to ban abortions based on sex discrimination, the White House told Jake Tapper that President Obama opposed the bill. The truth is that Democrats make moral arguments all the time, but their morals and policy plans often run in direct opposition with the Bible. Democrat presidential nominee Joe Biden is Catholic, but not only does he support abortion, he's willing to lay down his long-held beliefs of supporting the Hyde Amendment that protects your taxpayer dollars from funding abortion to appease the progressives of his party. His running mate Kamala Harris is far more extreme on the issue. When an activist, David Daleiden, went undercover to expose Planned Parenthood officials for selling baby body parts, she opted to prosecute Daleiden instead. Here's another example. Many Sanders and Warren supporters rail against billionaires and formerly millionaires, fueling class warfare in America. This is contrary to the commandment of "Thou shalt not covet." Do you agree with Mayor Pete? Do Democrats simply stop themselves from professing Christian values out of tolerance for other faiths, or are they determined not to allow the Christian church to influence policy? It was the gospel that fueled the hearts of abolitionists and gave legs to the civil rights movement. The Johnson Amendment was created to hinder the power of the black church in America. If evangelicals are comfortable with no voice or influence, they can find a home within the Democrat Party. But don't expect Democrats to care about your religious liberty and to protect your churches and businesses from tyrannical leftists who would love to trample your First Amendment rights. Leading Democrats like AOC believe religious liberty is a smokescreen for bigotry.
Because the only time religious freedom is invoked is in the name of bigotry and discrimination. I'm tired of it.
Do you think they're acting out of tolerance for all people? They certainly can't be if they're intolerant of you.